While he won't be around to hear from protesting farmers firsthand, Agricultural Minister Lyle Van Cleef is also missing scrutiny over the amount of money he spent on advertising the ADA program. Howard Hillstrom, chief ag critic for the official opposition, figures $600,000 is the amount Ag Minister Van Cleef spent in radio and newspaper promotions for the disaster assistance program. Hillstrom also criticizes Van Cleef for taking almost $95,000 out of the ADA budget for entertainment. Hillstrom states that in his opinion, the money was spent to polish the image of a faltering minister and the failures of a disastrous assistance plan. And NDP leader Gary Doer promises to wipe out standard exams for grade 3 students if his party is elected. In election news, he says he wants to funnel the remaining $3.5 million back into the classroom. Doer's focus is to guarantee every child can read and write fluently in grade 3. He says those students will be assessed at the start of the year, and parents and teachers will work out a learning plan for them. Doer also would like to see kids in higher grades demonstrate their literacy.
This has got to be our standard of excellence in grade 3, in grade 8, and in high school. And this is our expectation of how our kids can go into the next century equipped to deal with a creative learning environment and a creative and challenging world.
And also on the election campaigns, Liberal leader John Gerard made another health care announcement today. And again, he talked about better management in the health care system. Gerard says the Liberals would foster an open system so information is shared more between healthcare professionals. For example, a patient can receive a test in northern Manitoba and the information can be relayed to a specialist in Winnipeg. But Gerard again didn't have any hard numbers to release, unlike the Tories and New Democrats.
Rather than give you numbers and specific figures, what I will give you is an approach to better management of the system, an approach to using dollars more wisely, an approach which will focus on the quality of the health care, not on the precise amount of the dollars that we're spending.
And this third week of election campaigning began with another announcement from the Tories. Last week, Philman concentrated on tax cuts, but this week he switched his agenda. Philman announced the addition of a new ministerial post to look specifically at post-secondary education, training, and renovation. At the same time, Philman says his cabinet will shrink from 18 to 17. If elected, the Tories will consolidate some portfolios to be determined at a later date.
I think that some that are primarily regulatory in their outlook could be put together, and there are a couple of departments that would facilitate. There are other areas that we've been talked to about by various different people in society who say that they think that local governments should come under one focus instead of being split, and things of that nature.
We're experiencing some technical difficulties. We apologize for the poor video quality on that election coverage. And the Liberal Party for Brandon West has a candidate now in its riding. 20-year-old Lisa Roy, a fourth-year education student, is the chosen one. She hails from Thompson, Manitoba, and has been active with the Liberals for about 1 year. Her candidacy was announced at a meeting in Winnipeg over the weekend. Roy will be running against Scott Smith from the NDP camp and long-seated Jim McRae for the Conservatives. The Communist Party's Lisa Gallagher will also be in the race for Brandon West. And with the election just over 3 weeks away, candidates in Brandon East are hot on the campaign trail. Tammy Malesko caught up with some front-runners to find out how they're gearing up for the weeks ahead.
Good morning, Brandon East returning office.
It's a day of paperwork and formalities at returning offices across the province, as the deadline for candidates to file their nomination papers is Tuesday.
We're in the process of just compiling it and handing it out to the candidates and sending it off to Winnipeg. So right now, as you can see, we've got a lot of paperwork on our hands.
Brandon East NDP candidate Drew Caldwell was the first of his lot to file his this morning. Then he was off to officially open his campaign headquarters at the East End Community Center, the place where longtime MLA Len Evans ran his campaigns.
The Brandon East NDP and Len Evans has been very much part of this community for 30 years, and that is coming through here very strongly. People are coming to the office and say, gee, I remember this in 1969, I remember this in the 70s, I remember this in the 80s.
Meanwhile, at other headquarters, volunteers were busy fielding phone calls. At the Tory camp, Run with Marty is candidate Marty Snelling's campaign slogan, and he's been making his way around the riding.
We're just going to slowly go through the city and meet as many people as possible. There's about 13,000 voters in Brandon East, and so our goal is to meet as many of them as we can.
At the doorsteps, both Snelling and Caldwell agree education and health care are big talkers.
We've had many very educated people on all the issues, and so we've had a mix of reactions. But
a lot of concern about community values, neighborhood safety, the poverty issue. Healthcare, of course, is very important.
Later this week, Brandon East candidates Marty Snelling, Drew Caldwell, and Peter Logan will appear live on Pulse News to discuss their party's plans for Manitoba's future. In Brandon, Tammy Malesko, Pulse News.
Pulse News tried to contact Liberal candidate Peter Logan, who was in Winnipeg today, but he was unavailable for comment. And an election forum is scheduled to take place for Brandon candidates next month. The Brandon Chamber of Commerce is organizing election discussions for the city's east and west ridings. The president of the chamber, Laurie Dangerfield, says it is an opportunity to raise the profile of the election, promote Brandon issues, and serve the public interest. If you're interested in attending the discussions, the Brandon East Candidates Forum will be held on September 15th, and the Brandon West discussions will happen on the following day, the 16th. Both are to be held at the Keystone Center. And Police Chief Dick Scott says there was a miscommunication between the police service and the media this past spring. He says it was reported that the police wanted to decriminalize marijuana, but that was never the case. Scott, who just returned from the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police in Hamilton, says they are looking at other punishments for illegal drug use.
It had a lot to do with decriminalizing small amounts of marijuana and its derivatives. What we did now is we've changed our stance, and instead of saying decriminalize, what we're saying is alternate justice measures. So we want to see alternate justice measures for very small amounts.
And a difference of opinion means a trip to the Office for Education and Justice officials in Manitoba this week. They'll meet at RCMP headquarters in Winnipeg this Thursday to discuss ways to beat school violence. One group wants to fortify schools with everything from cameras to visitor badges. Another believes the key to safer schools is ensuring outcast kids are part of the student circle. The meeting follows concerns raised from the Columbine and Tabor shootings this spring. And it's back to school for students this week, and for some Brandon police officers also. The Brandon Police Service is dedicating 6 officers to an enhanced traffic enforcement program for the upcoming month of September. There will be a near zero tolerance to any moving violations in or near school zones. The objective of the program is to make city streets safer.
Enforcement is going to be a near zero tolerance for moving violations such as speeding, crosswalk violations, and disobeying traffic control devices in general. We just wanted to make it as safe as possible for the students going back to school.
And a Brandon police officer is the 1999 Honorable Mention recipient of the National Police Award for Traffic Safety. Sergeant Leon Flanagan was an integral part of the 1998 Road Watch campaign that checked over 10,000 vehicles in the area. He was also a driving force in the creation of the Roadwise Efficiency Award in the province. Flanagan's colleagues celebrated his achievement today.
I do think the program itself is a very, very good program, and it probably came at a good time because the Chiefs of Police Association and Transport Canada and so on, they're all targeting impaired driving now. They want to try and put a dent in it, and probably that was one of the reasons why it was selected. It just happened to be the right program.
And we would like to hear from you. If you have any questions or comments, please give us a call at 728-3312. You can fax us at 728-2591. And if you're on the internet, send us an email. Our address here is ckxnews@mb.simpatico.ca.
A warm night tonight with temperatures around 15, sunny tomorrow, and warmer. Complete weather is coming up shortly.
I'm Dean Millard. The Prairie Soccer Academy has officially opened in Brandon, and now there's a place for kids to play year-round. We'll have that story coming up later on Pulse Sports.
I don't like it closing because it's going to get, like, less places to shop and stuff, but sales are great.
This segment of Pulse News is brought to you by the #1 choice in home furnishing, Duke Brand Furniture and Appliances, where we simply sell for less. Guaranteed.